I'm back. Okay. I've once more left the garage and I'm up here in the kitchen. There's a lot of time to cook. This time, we're going to be cooking Chinese bitter melon, which is, or Asian bitter melon. In Chinese, it's called fu gua. Bitter melon. Looks like this. Okay. I've cut this one in half, as you can see. That's the inside of it. And I'm going to be basically showing you how to clean it out. You just basically get the seeds out of there first because the seeds aren't very good. Now you're saying, bitter melon? How can you eat bitter melon? You know, it doesn't even sound good. And I go, well, you know, Starbucks has made a living on bitter. Bitter is one of the 8 immortal flavors, very famous in Asian cooking. And people start to, if you start looking at or start tasting your different flavors, you'll find that bitter is a very unique way to go. And a lot of times you forget it until you start drinking your coffee. And then you say, hey, bitter isn't too bad. Okay, I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it 2 ways. This one, this has been my favorite knife for a long time. It's a French cooking knife, but I've discovered just recently, I've gone back to the Chinese cleaver or the Asian cleaver, and I kind of like that better because you don't have to, it's not as much effort. It may be not as sharp as this Weisskopf knife here, but it has weight, so it cuts pretty well. You can see the type of segments that I'm cutting on the bitter melon. And this is basically what you want. Okay, something that looks like that. And I have a whole plate of them over there. This is about 2 bitter melons and or 4 halves. And I'm just cutting this up, ready to cook. Okay, just about ready, and there we go. That's it. Here's the advantage of the cleaver. You can use it as a shoveling device. Okay, so here's the bitter melon all ready to cook. I'm going to be cooking it in canola oil using black beans and soy sauce. Okay, but before I do that, I'm going to demonstrate how to cook some beef or cut some beef. For this recipe, I'm using flank steak. Okay, here's the flank steak here. And again, cut across the grain. The grain is going this way. You want to cut across it so it basically falls apart in your mouth when you eat it. And once more, I'm using the cleaver, and it makes it pretty good. I'm going to shift over to the French cooking knife and see if that. Yeah, it's just about the same, except I have to push harder because it doesn't have the weight. So what I'll do is I'll come back to it. On my other cooking videos, I never showed you the preparation of the meat. This time I am, and this will be ready in a few seconds. I've cut the other half already, and I'm just doing this to give you a demo and try to talk without cutting my fingers on. Okay, there you go. So, here we go. This is I'm going to use flank steak. For those people that are vegetarians, forget the flank steak. Just bear with me for a while, okay? So I usually marinate it in soy sauce. Well, I guess I shouldn't say usually. I always marinate it in soy sauce if it's beef. Okay, put beef in there. Put the soy sauce in the beef. Excuse me. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of garlic, and this is chopped garlic. You can just get this at Safeway. It's all chopped up. You know, I don't like to go through it's too labor intensive to me to chop up all the garlic. So here, I'm putting some garlic in there, and I'm going to put in a little bit of cornstarch. No, wait, before I do that, let me put a little bit of ginger in. Forgot the ginger. Excuse me. Going into the freezer. I cut the ginger ahead of time and have it all ready in frozen chunks. And then have a grater, and there's going to grate just a little bit of ginger in there. Just enough. There we go.
His wife got him that grater for Christmas, by the way.
My wife got me a lot of things. She's the one that's taking pictures. That's Vicky. She got me my favorite, my all-time favorite toy. My heat gun. This is a Milwaukee heat gun I use for racing because I want to check the temperature of the tires and also the track. You know, and it's got a infrared. You just basically point it at anything, it'll tell you the temperature on the back here. And I found it more fun to use it in the kitchen. And I go to the track and I said, well, that's hot enough. You know, I watch everybody else, and I figured if the track's hot enough and I notice how they're launching, then I know I'm okay. Okay, I mixed up a little bit of ginger, garlic, soy sauce, and finally dump in a little bit of cornstarch for a coating, because we're really going to sear this meat and put it in there. So I'm going to do that first. All right. Got the wok heating here already on a preheated stove here. Usually a couple ways to do this. And one is that nowadays I just use a heat gun. You know, and you say, 400 degrees, 100 degrees would be better. The old days, what I would do is just put in some oil on the hot wok like this. Okay. See it? And then throw in some garlic. When the garlic starts smoking and turning, I know it's hot now. And we're pretty close. Let's take a look here. We've got 450. I don't put it into about 500 degrees. Sometimes it gets to about 600 if I'm not paying attention. I'm going to turn on the fan. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, it's about 600, 550, 600. After that, the oil starts to really break down. I like using canola oil. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to throw in the beef strips that have been marinated in garlic and ginger and cornstarch. This is difficult for me because I have to be very patient. I have to wait till it gets nice and brown and seared and then flip it over. I always get in a hurry sometimes and flip it over too quickly. While it's cooking, let me tell you a little bit here. The reason why we started the cooking shows is because Bardol, who's my sponsor for my race car, said, since you're not racing, we should let everybody know what you're doing. So that's what's happening. The racing season's been delayed a bit, and I'm taking this opportunity to, good. Nice and brown. Look at it. Okay. This is what I'm going to mix in with the bitter melon afterwards. Okay. As I said, if you're a vegetarian, you can just totally skip this segment of it. Okay. Bitter melon, when it's cooked properly, will end up pretty sweet. You know, it's kind of like putting sugar in your coffee. It's not bad, you know. You'll find that there's a lot of things you eat in your cooking and you just don't think about it as bitter, but it is. You know, tea, coffee, all those things are considered to be bitter. Okay, here we go. Now, this is all cooked. You see, it doesn't take very long, especially beef when you cut it into really thin strips. And I'm just going to set it aside. I'm going to put this back on. Add some more oil. Okay, let that heat up a second. I'm going to get some beef broth ready. Again, folks, if you're a vegetarian, use vegetable broth. Alright. See what the temperature is. See, usually the track, the track's cold, you don't get a good launch. The tires spin, so you usually come up with a heat gun and check the temperature of the track. Also find out how hot your tires are and if your burnout's adequate enough. Okay, just before you do that, throw in your black beans. Black beans, what are those? Those are fermented black beans. Okay, throw those in first. And that gives you a... Throw those in. Then, toss in your your bitter melon. Okay, bitter melon, mix in with your black beans really well. Give it a good coat with the oil. And then hit it with some beef broth. Or vegetable broth. You'll find that the black beans adds salt to it, but somehow the mixture takes away the bitter. Then add some carefully measured soy sauce. Let me see if I can carefully measure that. Okay. You know, this all kind of ends up about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, a tablespoon of black beans. The black beans come in a package like this. Costs about $3. It's used in a lot of Chinese dishes, Asian dishes. Okay, now I've started to coat it, and I'll give you a look at it. You can see the black bean mixture is coating the bitter melon, which is a necessity. Without it, the bitter melon will be just too bitter. Okay, I'm going to put it back on. I'm going to add a little bit more broth. It's kind of essential that the broth doesn't boil down. So I'm going to turn it down to about medium-high and let the broth and the black beans and the bitter melon cook together. And I'm going to put a top on it, set the timer for about 8 minutes, and then I'll be back in about 8 minutes.